At Chase Field in Phoenix, Arizona, the New York Mets play the Arizona Diamondbacks. Friday Night Baseball is presented by Jeep. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by Jeep. Visit Jeep.com today. By Hospital for Special Surgery, the official hospital of the New York Mets. By Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit Geico.com for a free rate quote. By Bob's Discount Furniture, quality, choice, and untouchable value every day. And by DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of the New York Mets. Well, the Mets made the Diamondbacks their prey last night on their first night in the desert, but the Mets continue to lose players and hope not to be inundated as they go through this series in Phoenix. And a pleasant good evening, everybody, and welcome to Phoenix. I'm Gary Cohen. Ron Darling joins me in just a moment as the Mets play Game 2 of their series against the Diamondbacks. The Mets won last night 6-2, but along the way they lost another player. Daniel Murphy in the third inning hit what looked like a routine ground ball. It did not look like anything serious as he ran the ball out. But Murph came out of the game with a tight quad, and today Daniel Murphy placed on the 15-day disabled list with a quad strain. The Mets have called up Danny Muno, and now they're even more shorthanded, already down by a couple of starters with Travis d'Arnaud and David Wright out of the lineup. So tonight, Eric Campbell will fill in at third base, and the Mets are very actively trying to make a trade to try and fill that spot going forward. Meanwhile, last night, the Mets won thanks to the heroics of John Mayberry, who had his first career 4-hit game, and John spoke just a few minutes ago with our Steve Gilbs.
All right, Gary. John, when you have a night like last night, is there a different feel coming to the ballpark today, like a weight's off your shoulders?
Well, you definitely feel, good the next day, just reflecting on, the successes you had. But, this is baseball. We play 162, so you got to put that behind you and be ready for the night. How
difficult of a process is it when you're not playing all that often and you're getting off to a rough start to keep that confidence up?
Oh, you just got to believe in yourself. As a baseball player that's been around for a little bit, I've been in the ups and the downs, and you can't let yourself get too high. You can't let yourself get too low. So you just try to weather the storm, go out there and try to have productive at-bats, and hopefully the results will be there.
What do you do on a daily basis? Because it's not like you're getting a lot of at-bats to get yourself out of the funk. So how different is it than, say, an everyday player to try and get out of that funk? What's your process like to do that?
Well, it's going to sound cliche, but I think it just goes back to being simple. Get back to the basics, and that's try to get a good pitch to hit and put your A swing on it. It's really as simple as that. It's obviously easier said than done, but it's just the thought process that I think you have to go through.
How much does footwork play into it? It seemed like last night your back foot specifically was more stable than we'd seen in the past. Is that something you wanted to work on?
Absolutely. Everything sports-wise, I think, is built upon your foundation. So making sure your legs and your feet are in a good position and getting a good position on time is obviously important.
And we appreciate the time, John. Big night last night. Hopefully you can keep it going. Thanks.
Thank you.
Gary, back to you.
All right, thanks, Steve. And Mets will need more of John Mayberry, not on the lineup tonight, but available off the bench as the Mets and Diamondbacks play Game 2 of their series. All the action coming your way on SNY. day. Make sure to stop into a tri-state area McDonald's to pick up an exclusive ticket offer to see the Mets play at Citi Field throughout the summer. For Mets tickets, go online to Mets.com. Big start tonight for John Neese. He's had 4 poor ones in a row, 0-3 with a 9 ERA over that span, and the Mets contemplating going back from a 6 to a 5 or so man rotation. We'll talk more about that as the night goes along. His opposite number tonight will be the former American League Rookie of the Year, Jeremy Hellickson, still trying to get his feet under him in Arizona. 3-3 with a 5.08 ERA, although he's been pitching better than that recently. It's Neese against Hellickson in the desert. It's the Mets and Diamondbacks. Ron Darling joins me in just a moment. First pitch is coming right up. No Daniel Murphy, so Eric Campbell, who's trying to break out of an 0 for 27 slump, will play third base tonight. His first start in about 10 days. Mets are in first place now in the National League East, despite their depleted numbers, and they'll face Jeremy Hellickson for the second time ever.
Well, the Toyota numbers, Gary, thanks for having me back on the broadcast. I was on suspension for the pregame
for 10 minutes?
No, because I had an ice cream sandwich and everyone's trying to be good. So our producer Greg Picker said you're off the open.
Wow, that's some tough love right there.
That'll teach me.
Curtis Granderson will lead things off. Curtis came up as a pinch hitter last night and had an RBI single in the 8th inning. Back in the starting lineup today, hitting at .229. Hellickson's first pitch of the night is a little bit low and away, and that's the first pitch of the game, and now we're underway. Granderson, Tejada, and Duda against Hellickson in the opening inning. Felt very strange not to have you in the open tonight. Granderson rips one into center field, so after picking up an opposite field hit last night, he goes to center field tonight to lead off the ball game.
Hellickson trying to come inside. It bled right over the outside part of the plate. Hellickson has suffered from, we're talking about a former Rookie of the Year. This guy at one point was 27-21 in his career, 16-18 since then, and the whole thing for me is that the league made an adjustment to him. He never could find that good breaking ball, and he's never made that adjustment to bring it back in his favor. And he's struggled since then.
Now, Hellickson's just 28 years old, trying to rediscover himself in the National League. After a half a season in Tampa Bay last year. Here's Ruben Tejada, who's been red hot with the bat since being inserted in the starting lineup. And he takes a strike. He was switched back to second base yesterday, and now it looks like he'll stay there for the foreseeable future. Although the way things have been going with this team, you just never know. You make a plan, and a day later, there's a different plan.
Yeah, this team right now is on a day-to-day thing.
And that goes for the offense. It also goes for the pitching. 0-1 to Tejada with Granderson aboard. Curtis has been doing very little running. Tejada hits one on the hole. Ahmed flashes over, gets the force. Nick Ahmed with a nice play, showing off his range to his right. And that's the first out of the game.
Well, the defense for the D-backs is extremely talented. We saw it last night. Coors Light and Ciarte went from right to left. He made a great catch on Harvey. Pollock, of course, is really good. And Tomas has moved out to right field. Hill, Ahmed, Owings, and Goldschmidt. Aaron Hill gets the start at third base today. And Valentin Castillo, who they just acquired, is behind the plate.
So Tomas in right. First game he started in the outfield for the Diamondbacks. That will probably be his long-term home, either in left or in right. Here's Lucas Duda. Lucas 1 for 5 last night. And against the extreme shift, he takes low for ball 1. Lucas down to 289 for the year. He missed a day a few days ago after getting hit in the knee Sunday and hasn't looked quite right since.
Yeah, it looks a little off so far.
Tejada at first with 1 out. And Duda grounds one into the shift. Owings goes to second for 1. The relay to first in time for the double play, and that retires the side. Hellickson gets through the first. John Neese takes the mound. Moss moving to right field. Wellington Castillo making his Arizona debut behind the plate. Aaron Hill, normally a second baseman, getting the start at third. Chris Owings has taken over the second base job.
Well, Gary, you mentioned it before. The numbers here, Jeep numbers for Jonathan. Started out the season 3-2. He's been 0-3 since then. But in June, it has always been his best month. He's 12-4 in his career in June.
Ender Inciarte leads off, 2 for 4 last night, hitting a 288 for the year. They leave him in against the lefty, and Neese misses outside for ball 1. Inciarte, 24 years old in his second season, drags a bunt. Tough play for Neese. The backhand flip and the great scoop by Duda to get the out. Wow. Nicely done on both ends by Nice and Duda to get the speedy Inciarte on a pretty good bunt.
Well, that's what you want to do, bunt it that way on the left-hander that follows through to third base. But Nice was very quick, and then with the backhand, it took Duda right across the base. But at some point, what's Inciarte going to do? Can't run over Duda. It's going to end up being injured.
He could try.
Nice try nice job by Nice. He shut it down once he saw Duda across that base.
So a fine play to get the first out, and now A.J. Pollock, who was 2 for 4 last night. This Diamondback offense, very impressive, leading the league in runs scored.
You know, we saw Jonathan warming up. Look at this mound. Extremely muddy for the beginning of the game.
Not what you'd expect in the middle of the desert. Broken bat fly ball over in left center. Kadire angling with Lagares, and Lagares comes over to get it for the second out.
Lagares, great range in center field, made that play look easy. Here's the Mets defense, represented by Lexus, Kadire, Lagares, and Granderson every night. Those three. Eric Campbell's going to get the start at third base tonight with Tejada at second. And behind the plate, Anthony Recker. Milwaukee today went to see the doctor. He's got a little bit of a virus working today.
There's Paul Goldschmidt with 2 out and nobody on, which is exactly how the Mets would like to face him. Goldschmidt hit his 16th home run of the year last night against Matt Harvey. Second in the league in RBIs with 45, having a fantastic year. And East gets one in for a strike, 1-1.
You know, Harvey gave up a home run to him, but I thought, did you hear Harvey's quote after the game? That was great. He said, you know what? I just started being sick of giving up runs and losing. That, to me, says it all about a quality pitcher.
Well, he said after Saltalamacchia took him deep that he got angry. And that's pretty much what we observed from up here. And this is Goldschmidt last night.
Well, if you're a pitcher and you're pitching against a guy like Goldschmidt and he gets you on a solo, you can't get that angry because he's a home run hitter. But when Saltalamacchia gets you, it's almost like he kicked it into gear.
That picked up his first win in more than a month. And Nice strikes out Goldschmidt with a curveball. So a good beginning for John Nice. He gets the side in order on just 8 pitches. On to the second, no score. On the 2015 Esurance MLB All-Star Game ballot at Mets.com. Voting is exclusively online and available on your computer, tablet, and smartphone. Vote at Mets.com now. Michael Kadire leads off in the second and swings at a high fastball from Jeremy Hellickson. Kadire had a base hit last night. He's got a 9-game hitting streak going, hitting .361 over the 9 games. Kadire, Flores, and Lagares for the Mets in the second.
It really looks like Mike Harkey, the pitching coach for the Diamondbacks, has been working real hard on Hellickson, working a little quicker. He can be very Traxel-like out there.
Well, so far this season, he is the second slowest worker in the National League. The only slower one is Kyle Kendrick, who's now pitching in Colorado. You can understand why you'd want to work slowly there. By the way, speaking of Colorado, you see the ball Giancarlo Stanton hit tonight at Coors Field?
He shouldn't be allowed to play there, like just because. He might hurt a fan.
It's like he's using a golf ball. 478 feet to center field.
It's just not fair.
0-2 to Kadire, who's 2 for 8 in his career against Hellickson with a home run. And he lifts one to left field. It's deep. Back goes Inciarte near the wall. It's out of here. Michael Kadire leads off the second inning with his 6th home run of the year. And the Mets jump out to a 1-0 lead. Now, Kadire's had a knack on this road trip for the 2-strike hit. And he hits a home run on an 0-2 pitch.
We've seen this happen a couple of times on Kadire. Not only with the 2 strikes, Gary, but he has the ability, if he's fooled by a pitch, he's still strong enough to kind of one-hand it out of the stadium, especially when he pulls it down the line.
Well, the ball carries well here. Not as well with the roof closed generally, but that one had plenty of carry. So the Mets take the early lead. Now Wilmer Flores, and he fouls the breaking ball off his foot.
Well, this is the swing here. So he's fooled, but still, sometimes when you hit it out in front and you get it on the sweet part of the bat, you still have enough left to get it out. He flipped it. He knew it right away.
9th home run Hellickson's allowed in 58 innings this year. Flores 1 for 5 last night. Has a 6-game hitting streak working, able to shake off that last foul ball, which hit him in a sensitive area.
There were 2 things that happened there. One, Kadire got around the bases about as quick as I've ever seen a guy on a home run trot. And you always get that from him because he's a complete pro. Never wants to show anybody up. No Junior Lake in his game.
Right. Flores pops one up. Goldschmidt, the former Gold Glover, into foul territory, and that's the first out of the inning. Well, let's face it, with the Mets down Wright, down Murphy, down Darno, it is essential that Michael Kadire and Curtis Granderson take charge of this team offensively. They're the 2 veteran players, the 2 high-priced talents in that outfield, and the Mets have got to get more from them if they're going to survive.
I look at 4 guys, really. Those 2, Kadire and Granderson, absolutely. But I also look at Duda and Lagares to take it up a notch. I'm not saying they have to be, perfect, but Lagares past couple days has swung the bat better. I think he's got to be more of that 280 hitter that we saw before. And Lucas has got to start hitting the ball out of the ballpark. He got real hot there for a while, got hit in the knee. Maybe get back to it now.
I think, though, if you look at the entirety of the body of work for Duda so far this year, you can't really be disappointed.
That's right. That's true. That's true. He's hit well enough. The other guys could definitely show some improvement.
Lagares had 2 hits last night, and he takes low and away. Oh, we haven't showed Ronnie's face yet. And here it is.
Hi, guys.
That's
post
Ronnie.
ice cream sandwich.
you wiped him out.
I did. I have it all off. But Greg, it was really good. I'm telling you, it was worth it not doing the open.
Eric Campbell waiting on deck. 2-1 to Lagares. And Hellickson fires one wide, 3-1. Jeremy Hellickson from Des Moines, Iowa. When he was drafted in 05, everybody thought he was going to LSU. That's why he lasted until the 4th round that year. The Rays took a flyer on him, and it turned out to be a good move for them.
Well, he's always had enough fastball, 90 plus, an ability to spot it, an outstanding changeup, but for whatever reason has never developed that real nasty breaking pitch that puts him back on that upper level.
That rookie year, he had a 2.95 ERA, won 13 games in 2011. Lagares lifts one to left center, and Ciarte drifts over. And that's the second out.
Also played with a team that had a lot of shifts. They were the most shifting team in those days, and that changeup came into play a lot with that Tampa Bay Rays team.
And they also had a great bullpen.
Yes, they did.
Which probably helped protect several of those wins. He also won a Gold Glove the next year in 2012. He's one of only 2 pitchers in history to win a Rookie of the Year and a Gold Glove. The other one, Fernando Valenzuela.
Fernando won a Gold Glove.
Here's Eric Campbell trying to snap that insidious 0 for 27 streak he's on. Last night he hit 2 balls very well after coming in for Murphy. One run down to left center, the other in right center. Hoping that can be a catalyst to get him off this schneid.
He just needs any kind of knock. Broken bat, infield hit, whatever it is.
I mean, it's been 2.5 weeks since his last hit, May the 18th in the 14-inning game against the Cardinals.
I mean, you're mad as a pitcher if you go 0 for 27.
Ball's off the breaking ball. Well, when the streak started, he was in the lineup and playing every day, and after a while, first Danny Muno got a shot of playing third, then Ruben Tejada got a shot of playing third, then they moved Murphy back to third, and now the cycle has turned to Campbell again. He's going to get a crack. Maybe not every day, but at least for now. And Eric lines one to center field, but right there is Pollock waiting for it. So another hard hit ball by Campbell to no avail. But the Mets grab the early lead. Michael Kadire able to take one deep against Jeremy Hellickson. Behind in the count 0-2. Hooks one out. 1-0 Mets going to the bottom of the second. Home second inning, 1-0 New York on the strength of a Michael Kadire home run. John Neese got the side in order in the first. He'll face Yasmani Tomas to start the second. Tomas getting his first start in the outfield for Arizona. Went 1 for 3 last night as a third baseman, and he takes inside for ball 1.
John seems to be, it doesn't say on the speed gun, but he seems to be throwing a little firmer tonight, which is nice to see. And then people at home are like, what do you mean that he's throwing faster? It doesn't say that on the gun. You can tell by the hitter's reactions that they're not seeing it as well. Maybe it's the lights, maybe it's inside, I don't know.
Tomas grounds one foul. Tonight's Cold Hard Facts are brought to you by Clean Crisp Coors Light. Well, the Mets have allowed the fewest walks of any pitching staff and have an historically high strikeout to walk ratio. Highest strikeout to walk ratio the Mets have ever had in a full season, 2.7. And it's at 4.1 right now.
So the Astros don't walk anybody, and they hit the ball at the ballpark every night.
They do that.
That's a nice combination.
And now they're bringing the fences in.
Well, that's why they're 13 games over 500. Oh, that's right. They're taking Tal's Hill out.
Yeah, they're going to shorten center field to 409. I mean, you can't hit a home run to center field at Minute Maid Park now.
What'd you say? Altuve said, who cares?
Yeah, I never hit it there anyway.
That's funny.
3-2 to Tomas leading off in the home second. And he hits one up the middle, past Neeson into center field. And the Diamondbacks have their first base runner of the night.
You know, I was watching Tomas, all of his batting practice, and I was just trying to figure out what kind of power he had, because he's only hit one ball in the ballpark. And one thing I noticed is that his swing produces incredible top spin. And you know how today's game, American players especially are taught to hit the ball the other way with the spin, with the bottom spin, so the ball carries.
Well, top spin makes it harder to pick up a ground ball. Backspin makes it easier for the ball to go out of the ballpark.
That's right.
Here's Aaron Hill. And he hits a double play ball to Flores. The flip to Tejada. And on to first. In time for the double play. 6-4-3. 2 out and nobody on. So the Diamondbacks get their first base runner just as quickly erased.
It's been a nightmare for Aaron Hill. Doesn't matter if he plays second or a third. And first pitch swinging, that's about as routine a double play as you'll ever get.
Now Chris Owings, the second baseman. Owings 1 for 4 last night. Diamondbacks this year, when they face a left-handed starter, are 5-7. And Owings has struggled particularly against lefties. A right-hand hitter who's hitting 128 against left-handed pitching.
You know, we've seen that over the years start to happen to a lot of these right-handed hitters. First person I remember saying to myself, how in the heck can he hit that low, was Dan Uggla, when he would have those numbers against left-handed pitching. Then he started having against right-handed pitching.
And Owings pulls one toward the hole, and there he's got a base hit against a lefty. A ground ball single for the Diamondbacks' second hit. Gets John talking to himself.
Don't talk to yourself too much about that. That ball is right over the middle of the plate. Sometimes you have to say to yourself, you know, I was pretty lucky he didn't lift that.
So now Wellington Castillo will take his first at bat as a Diamondback. Came over in the 6-player trade from Seattle earlier this week. Started the season with the Cubs. Traded to Seattle in May and then on to Arizona in June. That'll get your head spinning.
Well, Dominic Leone made his debut as a Diamondback last night. Did not work out well at all. Castillo trying to make a little better debut.
Well, Castillo, remember, was a starting catcher in Chicago each of the last 2 years, and then the Cubs acquired Miguel Montero from the Diamondbacks. And Castillo was relegated not just to second string, but really to third string status because the Cubs also had David Ross. So now he's moved on twice since, and he ends up in Arizona, essentially replacing Montero, who had taken his job in Chicago.
So really, they just needed to keep Montero, and then they'd have been fine.
Strike 3 call. Castillo out on 3 pitches, and Neese has his second strikeout of the night. Something wrong with the roof? After 2, 1-0 Mets. Maximus.
How's he going to see the ball if he's got the sign in front of him? There we go, Max.
Is that Maximus?
That's got to be.
Happy birthday.
Well, the Mets fans.
They made lots of noise last night. Even the little one trying to hide. Jeremy Hellickson faces 8-9-1 in the Mets batting order in the third. Anthony Recker will lead off. Recker basically the only catcher available to the Mets tonight, although they now have 2 emergency catchers. Eric Campbell started doing a little catching this spring.
Very emergency.
For an emergency. And Danny Muno, who was just recalled today, also has experience as an emergency catcher. So if anything were to happen to Recker, that would be what would happen.
I caught in Little League. Does that make me an emergency catcher?
So did John Neese.
That's right.
And I don't think Neese is going to switch positions. You do that in Little League sometime? Pitcher and catcher switch positions in the middle of the game?
That's right. Because what happens a lot in Little League is that sometimes the best athletes are your pitchers, and they're the only guys that can catch the other guy who throws real hard. Can't use anyone else.
Or get the ball to second base on the fly.
There you go.
Recker making his 13th start. He started on Wednesday in San Diego, went 1 for 4, drove in a run. One-two from Hellickson, and the breaking ball bounced foul. Well, these teams are polar opposites. Yeah. Mets pitch well, don't hit or field particularly well. Diamondbacks, the highest scoring team in the league. They field well. They just have trouble with their pitching.
So you're saying if we put both these teams together, you got quite a team.
Well, you'd have to cherry pick. The New York, Arizona Mets backs.
Poor Duda, he'd be back in the outfield. Right?
That's probably right. Here's Chip Hale, the former Mets third base coach, in his inaugural year as Arizona manager. And by all indications, it is working out very well.
One of baseball's great guys. That's a lifer that got a chance.
Recker strikes out on the changeup. First strikeout for Hellickson, 1 down in the third.
And that's that good breaking ball by Hellickson. Doesn't push off a lot. Sorry, I'll take that back. That's his good changeup. The reason I bring that up about Chip Hale is there's been so many managers that have been appointed, elected, with no experience at all.
Right.
So the lifer was starting to lose their chance to get a chance to be manager.
Well, the same could be true of Terry Collins, not necessarily when he was first managing in Houston and Anaheim, but getting this third chance after going back and doing every conceivable job in the minor leagues.
Well, think about it. Tim Tuffle, I'm sure at some point is going to want to have a shot at being a manager somewhere or with the Mets. I asked him once when I was sitting with him on the plane because there's just no room, so I sat next to Tuff. And I was saying, do you ever give any thought, like when and if you're a manager, things that you might do different? And he'd start telling me a few things. I won't share them here, but it was interesting to hear him thinking about if he ever gets that shot.
John Neese with 4 hits this year and slashes 1 foul past Tim Tuffle.
Tuff doesn't
folded arms.
He doesn't have a lot of confidence when Neese is up there. He kind of just folds the arms. He's thinking about, okay, what am I going to do tomorrow? Work out at 11. Lunch at 12. Do the reports
Meanwhile,
at
John
1.
almost just took him out.
Exactly.
Got to be on your toes. And that's a strikeout for Hellickson as Castillo slaps the tag on, and there are 2 out.
I mean, just give me a single clap. Like, come on, big man. Let's go. And now the hitter's back up and no folded arms, ready to go.
Well, your point is well taken about managers getting opportunities, working their way through the ranks, because you look at the Mike Matheny's and the Paul Molitors, and in an extreme case the the Dan Jenningses, guys who have not worked their way up through the system and done the things that it was always thought were necessary to become a big league manager, whether it's managing the minors, coach third in the majors.
Well, it used to be the incentive because it certainly isn't cash. The money they make down in the minor leagues, that was why you went down there, to learn the game. And once you learn the game, you at some point would be in consideration or given a chance.
To Granderson, who had a base hit his first time up, and he bounces one slowly foul.
That's why you see a lot of times you'll have coaches on your team, and they'll bring up some new coaches. There's all the rookie managers. Kevin Cash being the youngest.
Well, I mean, three of those guys, Craig Counsell, Dan Jennings, Paul Molitor, had never managed anywhere.
And Molitor's styling.
First place. I think everybody's surprised at the Twins being in first. Probably the Twins more than anybody.
Yeah, right.
They were not planning on that.
Molitor's like Sandberg. They were in the Hall of Fame before they became a manager.
But, Sandberg went down and managed in the minor leagues.
Yes, he did it the right way. I shouldn't say the right way. There's no right way, but he.
The more traditional way.
Yes.
But, those things changed. There was a day when the traditional way was he started as a player manager.
That's right. That's right.
Rogers Hornsby.
Frank Robinson. Lou Boudreau.
Joe Torre.
Well, I mean, you told me there was a time, and you did it that way, when people are always asking you, I want to be a play-by-play guy one day. You always, I listen to you, you always say the same thing. You know what? Wherever they'll take you, wherever you have to go, you go and do it. Mm-hmm. The reps are the most important. I mean, what's the minor league stops you were at? I know Durham, Pawtucket, where else?
Spartanburg.
Durham's in North Carolina, right? I don't want to be
Spartanburg's in South Carolina.
Okay, thank you.
I got to know the Carolinas well.
And Pawtucket in Rhode Island.
Inside ball 4. So Granderson, after falling behind 0-2, has himself a 2-out walk. So Curtis aboard for the second time. First walk given up by Hellickson. And now Ruben Tejada will come to bat. Ruben hit into a fielder's choice his first time up. Well, Granderson's done a great job of getting on base this year, not such a great job of advancing.
Well, Hellickson is pretty quick to the plate, but that being said, Tejada's been very hot hitter, right? So if you're watching Tejada and his ability to be hot right now, you'd love to get in scoring position. Try to cash in a 2-out run.
Yeah, he's a hot hitter, but he's a singles hitter.
Exactly.
Granderson 4 for 5 stealing bases this year. And Tejada trying to be a home run hitter, which he does occasionally. Try. Has 1 home run this year.
Well, percentage has become a huge thing for today's player. I still believe in, can you steal a base when you're supposed to steal a base?
Well, it's like pitchers with strikeouts. It's not necessarily how many you strike out. It's when you strike them.
I mean, the big strikeout guy's going to get you. But, if you're a guy like when I used to pitch, I wasn't a strikeout guy. But, if I got 2 important ones in the game, then it was a good strikeout day.
It was like Robbie Ray last night.
Robbie Ray,
He only
exactly.
struck out 4, but 3 of them came in spots with a runner at third and less than 2 out.
Not a big lead.
Tejada at the plate, Duda on deck, and Ruben hits one through the hole, a base hit. Granderson will pull in at second. So Tejada has now hit in 8 straight games, and he's doing it by using the middle of the field and the right side of the field.
It's a prime example. If Curtis could have stole early in that count, maybe you produce a 2-out run. Luckily, you got Duda up, who can maybe hit the ball out of the ballpark. First big swing by Tejada, and then after that working the middle of the field and the other way. That's why he's gotten all these hits. People just want to touch him because he's so red hot.
Don't burn your hand. So now it's Duda with 2 out and 2 on. Lucas bounced into a double play his first time up. And the Diamondbacks put on the modified shift with a runner at second. Hellickson drops the curveball in for a strike.
That's the pitch you should see more of from Hellickson with the shift. See fastballs in off the plate, which Lucas has seen enough of this year. Curveballs and changeups. The fastball away should be a pitch he probably has to stay away from because of that big hole produced by the shift.
And Duda took an outside pitch and laced it down the left field line for a double last night. And Duda hits the curveball down to first. Goldschmidt sweeps it up, and that retires the side. Mets strand 2 in the third, still lead 1-0 in Arizona. Not much growing.
Although it rained here today at times. Never.
Are they allowed to eat in the swimming pool like that?
Never. You're not supposed to eat and then get in the pool. You know that, John.
Well, you're supposed to wait a half an hour before you swim, right?
That's right.
Why is that?
I think it's an old wives' tale, to tell you the truth.
I used to rebel against that, too. Nick Ahmed leading off in the home third. Ahmed 0 for 4 last night.
Oh, yeah, the challenge.
Who cleans that pool?
I am not getting it. I know it's not the Dodgers.
Well, I thought they'd close that pool forever after the Dodgers celebrated in there. He sits as high 2-1. Well, the Mets began this day in first place in the National League East. First time they've been in first place this late in the season since 2008. However, if they want to stay in first place, they'll need to win tonight because the Nationals beat the Cubs tonight 7-5, despite 2 Anthony Rizzo home runs. Danny Espinosa hit a 3-run homer for the Nats, who started Tanner Roark tonight. Roark all of a sudden getting a chance to start again with injuries in the Washington rotation.
Yeah, Fister's down, right?
And Strasburg is down as well.
Right.
Strasburg with what I think you'd have to call the mystery injury. 3-2, and Neese misses badly with the fastball and issues his first walk of the night to the number 8 hitter. Hey kids, 7-12. Enter for a chance to join us in the booth and announce a half hour of a Mets game on SNY. Just go to sny.tv/Kidcaster, submit an essay on the topic provided, and you'll be entered in the SNY Kidcaster contest presented by New York's 529 College Savings Program. Kids 7-12. Now that you've heard that, go to bed.
That's right.
Oh, it is Friday. You can stay up a little later. Hellickson up there looking to do something he has not done very often in his career, and that's bunt. He's actually got very good career batting numbers, but only one career sacrifice.
Well, it looked like he had some nice form right there.
Try to create some confusion. And he falls behind him 2-0.
Let's see what sign he gets from Andy Green at third base here.
Ellickson's a good athlete.
Yeah.
We told you he won a Gold Glove in the American League. He also was being recruited to play basketball in college. Grew up in Iowa, and the University of Iowa wanted him to play baseball and basketball. Neese throws him out. Successful sacrifice for Hellickson. 1-4, moving Ahmed up to second.
You know, because the Mets issues with bunting, it seems like every team they face, the pitcher gets the bunt down perfectly, and that was another case there with Hellickson. Good form. Got a little lucky because it bounced off the plate, so bouncing that high, no play for Johnson at second base.
So runner at second with one out. No Ender Inciarte, who tried to bunt for a hit leading off the first inning. Dragged it nicely, but Neese made a nice backhand flip, and Duda was able to pull it out of the dirt, and they threw him out. Inciarte has actually hit for a higher average against left-handed pitching this year than he has against right-handed pitching.
He is one of the unknown players around baseball. He's a very good baseball player. Does a lot of little things well.
And he's trying to bunt here. I'm not sure why he would do that with a runner at second and one out.
Yeah, I don't like that play there. You have a chance because the pitcher bunted to try to have two chances at a major league hitter to try to knock in a run. To me, a bunt there is saying to the guy on the on-deck circle, you know, you do it. I'm not going to do it.
And he slashes one foul.
It might be different if it's maybe you know, Randy Johnson when he was here. Maybe it's a little different. You know, it's not the same.
You want to be doing much bunting against Randy Johnson.
Well, he'd just look at you and then you'd stop doing it.
I just mean, you're not giving yourself up on trying to bunt for a hit, but I'm not sure you want to face him and leave yourself a little chance to get out of the way.
Yeah, he'd drop a cruck on you.
And the curveball struck him out. Neese has unleashed a couple of those tonight. His A curveball. He struck out Goldschmidt in the first with a curve, and now he gets Inciarte.
You know, he's throwing it a little harder, which I like to see. You know, we've seen of recent note that he kind of rolls it over for a strike. Instead, that hard one against the lefty placed perfectly on that outside corner.
So 2 out. Ahmed still at second, and now A.J. Pollock, who had a broken bat fly ball to center his first time up.
Much like when you're facing the Miami Marlins, a couple of other teams, you have to have this out. You just cannot have Goldschmidt come up with 2 runners on. It can change the outcome of the game.
There goes the runner, the curveball in for a strike, and the Mets let Ahmed go. His second stolen base of the year. What's the old saying? If you're going to steal third base with 2 out, you better make it.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of doing it if the hitter's up, but if you're going to do it early in the count.
So the tying run now at third with 2 out. Pollock's been a hot hitter, particularly against left-handed pitching. Here you see the highest batting averages in the National League against lefties, and Pollock in the top 5.
Well, he's benefiting from the guy batting behind him. It's 2-0 now. If you're the pitcher, you've got to throw a strike and attack Pollock here.
Right back to Neese. He gets a piece of it, scrambles, and he can't make the play. A run comes in, the ball gets away, and down to second base goes Pollock. It's a 1-1 game. Well, there's the advantage of Ahmed stealing third. Neese deflecting the ball, and he Did everything he could sliding after it, but no chance to get Pollock as the Diamondbacks tie the game.
Well, we've seen a couple of plays now for the Mets pitchers have just not found leather, and it was good hustle by Nice, but ill-advised throw. Pollock runs so well. Watch him go. You know, Terry Collins is usually not a big fan of this. I'm more a fan than he is. I don't want to pitch to Goldschmidt personally.
Score that an infield hit, an RBI, an error on Nice, allowing Pollock to move to second. And now Goldschmidt takes the cutter inside for ball one.
Goldschmidt is such a smart hitter. What did he strike out on his first time up? A curveball. He'll sit on a curveball.
Goldschmidt last night hit the home run against Harvey. It was the 99th home run of his major league career. Curveball hit right up the middle, but that's where Tejada is. Has time to recover and throws him out to end the inning. A bullet off the bat of Goldschmidt, but the Mets positioned perfectly to save a run. Diamondbacks get one to tie it. Tie game going to the fourth. Obligatory every time we're in Phoenix.
You know, it's the funniest thing about cactus or cacti is if you're a golfer in this Paradise Valley region, if you go to play to a golf course, a lot of the cactus have golf balls stuck in them because the bad golfers don't know that you're supposed to hit around the cactus.
Or they just don't hit it in the right direction.
Well, they don't have the ability to hit it in the right direction.
that happens to some golfers. Michael Kadire accounted for the Mets run with his 6th home run leading off the second. And Hellickson misses low, 2-0. Are there special rules regarding cacti and the needles, and is there a way you're supposed to play cacti according to the official rules of golf?
The official rules is for golfers out there, you know what I'm talking about.
Into the shift with 3 men on the left side, and Ahmed throws out Kadire for the first out.
It's called reload. Tee up another one and you're lying 3 if you hit it in the fairway.
You're saying if the ball gets stuck in the cactus,
just reload, re-hit another one. Too bad. You're going to make a big number on this hole.
You can't hit it out of the cactus?
No, well, I guess you could. I guess you could hit it out of the cactus. You know. You don't want, although, but now this is you don't want to mess around with.
What are those called exactly?
That's the jumping choya.
Uh-huh.
So you get close to that and the needles spit out at you, and they go right into your skin, and the only way that you can get them out is you got to go to the hospital, and the doctor has to take them individually out of your skin.
How about just like not have them? That's over the bag. A fair ball for Flores going down the line. Inciarte chases it to the sidewall, and Flores in at second base with a stand-up double. 6th double of the year for Wilmer.
Well, just like a everyday vitamin, it seems Flores is always getting one hit at least a day. Nothing Hill could do there. Ball just moves so quickly on the dirt and grass here at Chase Field. That's why this field, and with the carry, is such a beautiful offensive park.
So the go-ahead run at second with 1 out, and now Juan Lagares, who flied out to left his first time. Eric Campbell waiting on deck. Mets 1 run 4 hits. The Diamondbacks 1 run 3 hits. We're in the 4th. Things have been getting better for Hellickson lately. Last 3 starts 2-0, 3.38. But his ERA still over 5 for the season. And as we've already seen tonight, he's been susceptible to the home run ball.
Just like Chip Hale, Mike Harkey, the pitching coach, is a lifer, has been out in that bullpen for the Yankees for years and years with Mariano and the crew, and now has his chance to be in the dugout working with the staff for the Diamondbacks.
I remember when Mike Harkey came up as a pitcher with the Cubs. He was supposed to be a big star. 1-2 to Lagares.
Well, he was one of the first real big guys that came up, and I'm talking about physically imposing. He's 6'6", 6'7", about 240, 50 pounds when he played.
Lagares behind in the count, 1-2. Golfs one into shallow center. Pollock comes on, has to play it on a hop. Flores wasn't sure, so he'll stop at third, and the Mets have runners at the corners. Thought for a moment that Pollock might try to dive for that ball, but played it safe, and Lagares has his first hit of the night.
Well, we said Pollock plays awfully deep, but he has great speed, and if he would have dove for that ball, it would have been hard for Flores to get back, but he does a nice job keeping it in front of him. See, Flores, he's not sure. And boy, his momentum was really going towards third if Pollock could have come up with a great catch.
So now the Mets try to regain the lead, have first and third and 1 out, and Eric Campbell coming up. Campbell's 0 for his stretch to 28 at bats, but again he hit the ball hard his first time up, lined out to Pollock in center field. And Campbell fouls away the fastball. That guy Russell reminding me that Mike Harkey was the 4th overall pick in the same draft that Junior Griffey went #1.
Wow. His teammates with Mike in Oakland, and just a bear of a man, just a great guy, and anyone he's ever worked with has been better for it.
One and 1 to Campbell. And Eric takes a strike on the outside. 1-2.
That's the best fastball command I've seen in some time from Hellickson, Jeremy Hellickson.
Remember earlier when you were talking about how maybe he's sped up his rhythm a little bit? Not right now.
No. People on base, that's why.
That's the way Steve Trachsel used to be, too. Every once in a while with nobody on, you'd say, he's getting faster. And then people would get on. 1-2 coming, but first time is asked for.
Whoa.
It looked like Hellickson was already in his delivery when Alan Porter granted time.
Well, that was a hard one. Campbell was asking time. Porter finally gave it to him, but Campbell didn't want to step out either, because with 2 strikes, he wasn't sure he was going to get it from Porter.
Flores at third, Lagares at first, and 1 out. And in the dirt, scrambled after by Castillo to make sure nobody can advance.
That was great hustle by Castillo, because that could have changed everything if Lagares could have read that quickly. You know what you want to do as a hitter, and I know it's hard to do, do not move.
Exactly.
Make him fight to get through you.
Castillo sets up inside. 2-2 from Hellickson, and Campbell hits it up the middle, a base hit, and the Mets go back in front. Flores comes in to score. Eric Campbell gets a huge monkey off his back, snaps an 0 for 28 stretch with an RBI single, and the Mets go in front 2-1.
Well, I talked about Hellickson's command with his fastball. He missed the spot there. It's supposed to be inside. It's down, but middle. And Campbell not trying to do too much. Hits it right through the box.
Well, that's just a huge sigh of relief for Eric Campbell. First hit in 18 days, and that'll make you smile. Finally.
He's ahead in the count, so you want to run this in on the hitter's belt buckle. But he cuts it off, and it ends up just right down the middle. So location at the belt buckle. The ball's middle, and the catcher's reaction, you can just tell, was disappointment.
Well, Eric Campbell's 0 for was the longest by a Mets position player since Josh Tolle went 0 for 30 in 2012. Campbell's comes to an end at 0 for 28.
A lot of times when you're on first base, the hitters or your fellow teammates will say, do you want the ball? Do you want to get the ball for your memento case?
Well, do you remember Dave Winfield in the World Series? He was 0 for 21, and he finally got a hit, and he wanted the ball.
He should have just hit. No.
Here's Recker with 2 on and 1 out. A run home for the Mets here in the 4th. They've gone back in front, and he takes a fastball for a strike. Lagares now at second, Campbell at first. That's now with 6 hits against Hellickson and 3 1/3. Recker hitting 8th in the order. John Neese on deck.
What's interesting to me, Recker, is, you know, when you have new hitting coaches, sometimes there's some new techniques, especially for players that don't play every day. But I remember Recker, when he would stand up at the plate, he'd look almost like a baseball logo, that perfect stance with the hands up high. Now they're down low, and that right hand is almost held right up against his the New York logo.
Just trying to stay a little more relaxed?
A little more relaxed, and I think what he's trying to do, you know, Anthony's big problem has always been he's got a little big swing, so it's susceptible to striking out a lot. I think he's trying to be, as they say in today's parlance, shorter to the ball.
What was shorter to the ball in your day?
Shorter to the ball. I don't know which. It's a quick bat. Just having a quick bat. You know, people used to say you want to have a quick bat. Paul Malter has the quickest bat.
Right.
Tony Gwynn has a quick bat.
Bill Madlock.
Hal McRae.
Tom again asked for what a finish they had at Yankee Stadium tonight. Yankees had an 8-1 lead on the Angels going to the 9th, Angels scored 6 runs in the top of the 9th and left the tying run at third. Yankees win 8-7.
It's a popular guy at the stadium, corn dog guy.
Record takes one the other way. Tomas moving over, and he makes a brilliant catch. Racing back to second is Lagares. He'll make it. Campbell didn't go far, but Lagares was all the way to third. Tomas, I don't think, realized that and threw it into first base. But a terrific play by Tomas, getting his first start in the outfield.
His first start in the outfield, a ball that was a dead double off the bat, and he took the perfect angle to get to this baseball and just caught it in the webbing. Well, Lagares thought that was a dead out hit, and he picks up Tuffle and he says, "Hey, you need to go back, son." And Campbell, of course, good technique, until the last second gets back.
There's a huge play by Tomas. That could have easily been 2 runs if that ball gets by him. Instead, first and second and 2 out, and John Neese coming up. Well, we talked last night about all the speed the Diamondbacks had in the outfield. We weren't talking about Tomas, but he moved awfully well for a guy who hasn't played out there much. They've always looked at him as an outfielder. He was only pressed into service as a third baseman because Jake Lamb is on the disabled list. But he looked like he'd been playing out there every day.
I think you're going to see a different shape Tomas next year when he's had a full year to work out and play ball. And
well, Tomas missed, what, a full season before he signed with the Diamondbacks?
That's right. So that's a long time.
Signed a 6-year, $68 million contract coming out of Cuba.
A lot of times they don't have the same facilities to work out that a lot of these players do.
Good pitch by Hellickson, 0-2. Well, this is part of what we saw last night from the Diamondbacks outfield.
Well, he might not be good at abstract expressionism, but I'll tell you one thing. Pollock can go back on that baseball. Plays deep, but he saved, what, 3 or 4 runs yesterday.
The outfield grass is his canvas. These fouls went off. Does the J and AJ stand for Jackson?
Yeah, maybe, right? It's just you need those guys to develop, and I know the Mets have a few in Conforto, Nimmo, and others. You need those everyday players to somehow get to the place where they're going to be as important as your everyday talented young starting pitchers for the Mets, because that's going to be the difference between whether you're a good team or a great team.
One-two to Neese, and just missed. Hellickson thought he might have had it. Well, there's no secret the Mets are in the trade market right now, trying to find an everyday player, but that's more out of necessity than out of building. Looking for somebody who can fill the gap with Wright and Murphy on the sidelines. Murphy going on the DL today, at least 15 days, but you never know with a quad injury and a guy with a history of leg problems. 3-2 now to Neese.
Well, one of the hardest times to make a deal is when other teams know you need one out of necessity, and you know some of the players that are bandied about have a pretty good contract, and you have to decide whether you're going to take that on.
Lagares and Campbell will be running now with 3-2 and 2 out. He's with 4 hits, 2 RBIs on the year, and John takes outside, ball 4, and the bases are loaded. So just when it looked like Hellickson with that great play by Tomas might be able to get out of this, now Curtis Granderson will come up with the bases loaded. Second walk given up by Hellickson.
You know, it's interesting. Hellickson must be the type of pitcher that can be very tempestuous, because we've seen a couple of meetings with Harkey. We've seen Castillo come out to talk to him. Aaron Hill, the third baseman, has been in. Almost like he's one of those guys that always needs assurance. Hey, you're going to get through this. Let's go.
Well, the Mets have been great with the bases loaded this year, hitting .435 as a team. And Granderson will get a crack with the bases full here. It's been their best situation by far. Granderson with a base hit and a walk tonight. Lagares at third, Campbell at second, Neese at first, 2 down. And Granderson takes a fastball strike.
Granderson, of all the Mets hitters, has to know Hellickson the best with their meetings in the American League East.
3 for 16 against him with his base hit tonight. And Curtis takes a knee-high strike, and now he's in a 2-strike hole.
It's amazing a pitcher can walk the opposing pitcher, and the next 2 pitches are almost perfect.
"28 pitches deep in this 4th inning. Hellickson trying to get out of a mess. 0-2 to Granderson. Swing and a miss. He struck him out with an off-speed pitch. So the Mets get 1 to regain the lead on Campbell's slump-busting base hit, but they leave him loaded. Good changeup by Hellickson to get Granderson. It's 2-1 New York in the 4th. First baseball game. I'm assuming that's for the little one, right?
Yes.
And enjoying every minute with Dad.
Sponsored too. Very often at a signed sponsor.
Clever product placement. Yasmani Tomas leads off against John Neese as we start the bottom of the 4th. Tomas singled to center field his first time up. Aaron Hill to follow, and then Chris Owings against Neese, who gave up a scratch run in the 3rd inning after a leadoff walk.
Tomas reminds me a little of Marlon Byrd when he stands in the box.
Big man.
Yep.
Flies one out to right. Granderson drifting over. 1 out. So Tomas retired. Aaron Hill coming up. So we are now into the 3rd day of the Mets 6-man rotation. And Terry Collins let loose today that the 6-man rotation is not going to be a 6-man rotation for very much longer.
7?
No. Well, what Terry said is that it's going to be a more traditional rotation, but what it seems is going to happen, if you want to put it in the best terminology possible, that instead of a 6-man rotation, the Mets are going to have a 6-day rotation. In other words, they're still going to space out their young pitchers as they intended, with 5 days between starts. But in a case like we have this week, where there's an off day on Monday, they're not going to let any pitcher have 6 days between starts and pitch on the 7th day.
Well, I mean, we've been saying that all along. That's the issue with a 6-man rotation, is if you have a day off or a rain day, then you end up with one of your best pitchers being passed over on his day. It's the wrong thing to do. What's going to happen now is that if it's one of the young, hard-throwing pitchers, and it's their day, they are going to get their day. And the pitcher who loses out, whether it's Jonathan Neese or Dylan G, is going to go into the bullpen.
Well, I would assume that basically there will be one guy, and your best guess is it's going to be G, because they still want to have a lefty in the rotation. At least, you know, until Steven Matz is ready, and who knows when that happens, and that's going to change the dynamic as well. But you have to figure that G's going to become the swing man in the rotation.
Don't even have a monitor big enough for that graphic.
And, you know, I know that you've done that before, as Hill just got a piece to stay alive. You know, you start occasionally, but when you're not starting that time through the rotation, you go in the bullpen, you serve as the long man, and then 10 days or 15 days later, you're asked to start again.
One of the reasons that you're put in a rotation is that you can stay at a certain pitch mark, right? You're in a rotation. So when you're in the rotation, it used to be 115 to 125 pitches is where you could pitch in a game. But once you are taken out of the rotation, put in the bullpen for a couple days, and then brought back, that pitch count moves a little bit. You're not sure what it is. You know, you might be in the top of the 5th inning and your guy's cruising, and the next thing you know, gives up 3 hits and a homer, and you go, how did that happen? Well, he's been in the bullpen for the last 3 days. That's why it happened.
Strike 3 called. Neese on the 8th pitch of the at bat gets Hill looking at a fastball, and Hill grumbles to Alvin Porter. 4th strikeout for Neese.
And I know that it's a very, very important thing for all teams in baseball. Good pitch right at the belt by Jonathan. I know it's very important for all teams. They're trying to get a handle around these Tommy John surgeries. I can appreciate it. Boy, I wish someone would have cared about my arm when I was a kid too. That might have been fun.
Nice bunt by Owings. Neese from his knees on target. He got him. Well, Neese tried the sliding play in the last inning, couldn't get Pollock. He perfected it this time. Beautifully done by John Neese. Second bunt he's turned into an out tonight. Laying out, off balance, from his knees. Perfect throw.
No one bunts for more hits than these Diamondbacks.
Pace sensation at Chase Field. The churro dog. You've got the donut, the churro, the frozen yogurt, the chocolate sauce, the caramel. Well, we sent out Steve Gelbs to do a little research on the churro dog today, and here he is with what he's found out. Steve?
Gary, things are about to get really messy here in just a second. This thing is even bigger in person than when we saw it on TV yesterday. But the churro dog was a creation that took place this offseason. They hold an annual Sweet Holders evening. And this evening, the theme was the next new dog. The CEO, Derek Hall, and Luis Gonzalez, actually, it was their task to create new hot dogs and give it out to the Sweet Holders that they would vote on. At some point during the planning process, someone put out the idea of a churro dog. The executive chef here took it and ran with it. It's a donut. It's a churro. It's frozen yogurt. It's whipped cream. It is caramel sauce. And it is chocolate sauce. Bunch of celebrities, including Will Ferrell, have tried this thing, but now it's Steve Gelbs' turn. I got to put this mic down. I was told I have to eat it with my hands. All right, so hold on. Yep. It's phenomenal. It's not something that you should be eating while holding a microphone. But we're going
to need one more bite from you, Steve. Go ahead.
All right.
Go ahead.
That's great.
Steve.
What I do.
Steve.
What I do for you guys.
You are fully indoctrinated now.
I'm in the club.
I thought that was Steve. I thought that was Keith for a second, throwing the mic down like that.
Yeah, I'm in the club. If you guys want some, I can bring it up to you.
Did anybody give you a napkin?
I've got 3 napkins. I'm done with them already. Finished. And I'm not clean.
To celebrate National Donut Day, you're a man.
The good news is you get to finish the rest of it off camera.
All right, great. Enjoy. I'm going to enjoy this. See you later.
Nicely done.
Very good.
It's the key to that job, right? You have to be willing to, show food in your face.
That's right. We have no good sports, you and me up here, so no chance.
2-2 to Tejada, and he goes down swinging, and Hellickson's got his 4th strikeout of the night. Well, here's the making of the churro dog. The donut, frozen yogurt, whipped cream.
Give me the singing. I need the singing bad.
Oh, are the singing waitresses there?
Wow. The poor lady.
We'll try and get the singing waitresses in the next time.
Okay, all right.
Here's Lucas Duda with 1 out. Duda's grounded out twice, once into a double play. I want to know who gets the songwriting credit for Choo Churro Dog.
Well, it's kind of got a Mets theme, doesn't it? Doesn't that sound like Who Let the Dogs Out? That they made a little variation of that? I think that's what it was. It wasn't the Baja Men, but
that was just great. I'm not sure what was better, listening to the ladies sing or watching Steve shove the whole thing into his mouth.
That was pretty good.
Michael Kadire on deck. Hellickson behind on Duda, 3-1. Lucas just 2 for his last 20, trying to get it going again. And takes a big home run cut and misses, 3-2.
The good news is that he was able to shove that in his mouth. Bad news is, Julie Fromm, we need another shirt. Sent overnight.
We still have a closet full. 3-2 to Duda. And he lays off the changeup, ball 4. 3rd walk given up by Hellickson, and the Mets have a 1-out base runner. Now, Hellickson's done okay tonight, but what is plaguing him is what has plagued virtually every Diamondback starter, and it's plaguing Chip Hale because it's putting too much pressure on his bullpen, and that is their recent pitch counts early in games. Just in the last week, Monday, Archie Bradley 75 pitches through 4 innings. Tuesday, Josh Colmentor 71. Wednesday, Ruby De La Rosa 93. Thursday, Robbie Ray 82, and tonight 75 for Hellickson through 4 innings. That's unsustainable.
It is unsustainable because that means that your starters are going to go 5 and your relievers are going to go 4 every night.
And unless you have a 9-man bullpen, that's really hard to do. Gadire got the Mets started with a home run leading off the 2nd inning. He's grounded out as well, 1 for 2. 92, that's as hard a pitch as Hellickson's thrown tonight. 1-1. How about the start that Chichi Gonzalez has gotten off to? That's his 2nd major league start tonight for Texas. Complete game, 3-hitter. Shut out the Royals 4-0.
Well, we've seen a lot of complete games lately, haven't we? Lance McCullers Jr. the other day.
Just his 4th start. So you got guys early in their careers completing games. We don't see that very much.
The difference, folks, at home is that the Mets staff strikes out hitters too. But it seems to me as though when they get up 0-2 or 1-2, they'll go for the punch out. But they're just as content to have a 1-pitch, 1-out kind of at bat also.
So Hellickson about to throw his 90th pitch in the 5th inning. And Gadire takes the breaking ball, strike 3 call. 5th strikeout for Hellickson. 2 out in the inning.
You guys might have read John Harper had a nice article. I wouldn't say nice. He had an article on Mel Stottlemyre, who's been struggling of late. Best pitching coach I ever had when I was a kid, and he used to say something very interesting. He said it doesn't really matter how you get outs. Just consider you have a bucket right behind the rubber and you want to fill it up. If you completely fill it up, then you've done a good job for us. You've gone 8 or 9 innings. And that's a good way to look at it, and I think that's the way the Mets pitchers look at it. What the Mets pitchers do that the Mets teams that I played on didn't do is they don't walk anybody.
Right. Well, that's what this staff has done better than anything. And that gets you deeper into game.
Yep.
Flores doubled and scored his last time up to put the Mets in front 2-1. Duda at first and 2 out. And Flores fouls it away 0-2.
Remember, I very lucky. I had Dave Duncan as a pitching coach too when I went at Oakland. But you know, I was an older player then, had a little better idea on what I was doing. Just fresh faced and had no clue when Mel got me. There's Dunk. One of the first pitching coaches that charted every single pitch. Changed the game. But you know, fresh faced, didn't know anything about pitching when Mel got me, taught me everything I knew.
Well, it seems as though Duncan had success in all areas, but particularly taking veteran pitchers and retooling them and extending their career.
He was great. When you think about all of them, Eckersley he took out of rotation and put in the bullpen. Dave Stewart, a guy that hadn't had great success. His Stu became unbelievable winner and competitor, and one of the big reasons Oakland was so good all those years. But you know, Dunk, unlike Mel, was just a great communicator. He had a great way of speaking to each and every older pitcher about what was going to make them successful. And you know, when he was speaking your language, you'd go, boy, that makes a lot of sense. I should start doing that.
Flores fouls him off. I mean, think about later in his career when he went to St. Louis, guys like Kyle Loesch and Joel Pinheiro, guys whose careers appeared to be over, and he turned them into winners. Dave Stewart, now the general manager of these Diamondbacks.
And Stu always used to love, because I think he felt he was overlooked a couple of times by Roger Clemens for the Cy Young, that he took it as such a challenge when he faced Roger to make sure that the A's and he came out with a W.
Flores battling hard with Duda at first and 2 out, and Wilmer pops it up. Castillo avoiding that on deck circle and makes the catch to retire the side. A walk and 1 left. Mets have now left 6 halfway through. 2-1 New York. There are your city probables for the remainder of this series. Bartolo Colon goes for his 9th win tomorrow night against Chase Anderson, who's been the Diamondbacks' best starter. Then Jacob deGrom tries to continue his role on Sunday against the tomahawk-throwing Josh Coleman.
That's right.
Wellington Castillo leads off the home 5th. Mets leading 2-1. John Neese, after 4 straight ugly starts, pitching well tonight. Falls behind on Castillo, or evens the count on Castillo 1-1.
Yeah, there's a nice crispness to Jonathan's game tonight, working very quickly and sound defense behind him.
The only run against him scored on a walk, a sacrifice, a stolen base, and an infield single.
I mean, there's one error, but it was John's error, right? Throw the ball past on a bunt attempt. No, not a bunt attempt. A ball he couldn't glove.
Pirates beat the Braves tonight 10-8. Neil Walker and Starling Marte each homered and drove in 3. The Braves have now scored 22 runs in their last 3 games and lost them all.
A nightmare.
Strike 3 called. East gets Castillo for the 2nd time. That's 5 strikeouts for John. Is the older sibling tormenting the younger?
Yes.
Is that happening again?
Almost looks like she wants to get in there to get some of that, and he does not want to share it.
And she is just beside herself.
And now laughing at him, and he's crying.
Now, you were the oldest. Is that how you treated your younger brothers?
I'd have to say, yeah, exactly.
See, I was in the middle. I both received and dished it out.
No, I was bad, and I know my brothers would say this. I have 3 younger brothers. I just was worse than that, Gary. There was an indifference that I showed to my brothers that is just awful.
And they probably wanted nothing but your attention.
Yes.
Ahmed down to 3rd. Nice backhand pick by Campbell, and he throws him out 2 away.
Oh, nice play in that backhand. Had to back up just a little bit. Quick release. Knows who's running.
So 2 out and nobody on, and Jeremy Hellickson's going to stay in and bat for himself. He's already thrown 96 pitches in 5 innings, but their bullpen has been so taxed. They're going to ask Hellickson to go another frame.
Well, if they're going to pitch like this, they're going to have to be able to throw 115 pitches per game. And plus, remember Hellickson, you talked about the good athlete he is. He gives you a pretty good threat there up at the plate.
The Diamondbacks have had 10 straight starts from their pitchers of 6 innings or less. So let me see what Neese has done tonight compared to his last start. In the last 4 starts, Neese had given up 4 earned runs in all 4.
Relievers for the Diamondbacks going home nightmares every night, knowing that phone's going to ring at some point.
2-2. Got him. Up and away, and Hellickson strikes out. That's 6 for John Neese, matching his season high. He's retired 7 straight. That game's been a delay for some time in Colorado. Their 100 millionth delay this year at Coors. Sunday on Mets Insider, the next man up. Hear from some Mets players, past and present, as they share their stories about getting the call to step up and deliver on Mets Insider, presented by WB Mason, Sunday at 7:30, only on SNY. Randall Delgado, first man up in the Arizona bullpen, as Jeremy Hellickson starts the 6th inning at 96 pitches. Juan Lagares will lead things off for New York. Lagares 1 for 2, single to center his last time up. Lagares, Campbell, and Recker 6, 7, and 8 in the order for New York. And the curveball in for a strike, 0-1. Hellickson has walked 3, struck out 5, given up 2 runs and 6 hits, including the tie-breaking hit to Campbell that snapped his 0 for 28 stretch. Lagares fouls it down the line, 0-2.
You have to say you're very happy with the way the Mets pitchers, especially the starters the last 2 nights, have pitched against this powerful offensive lineup of the Diamondbacks.
Well, you always expect it from Harvey, even though he had had some less than stellar results the last 2 starts. but it's especially important for Nice, as you know, as we talked about the rotation changing and morphing, and the probably fairly imminent arrival of Steven Matz in the major leagues.
Yeah.
This becomes a start-by-start proposition for some of these guys.
Yeah, it's a put up or shut up kind of time.
There's another piece to that as well, and we haven't really addressed that. As Lagares strikes out, that's 6 for Hellickson, matching his season high, 1 out in the 6th. And we talked about the Mets being in the market for a hitter, and that's certainly the case. And you know, if you're going after a player this time of year, it's probably from a team that's falling out of the race, and they're probably going to want prospects. But the other piece is, you know, the Mets have a John Neese, they have a Dylan G. Those are tradable commodities, and whether the Mets will be able to get equal value back, what they consider equal value, as the rest of these young pitchers come bubbling up through the system, there's every reason to think the Mets are going to be in the market to try and see what they can get for those older starters.
Well, the only reason that could be a little different is if you look at a guy like Ramirez, who's making a pretty good salary from Milwaukee, and they want you to kind of eat the contract for them. That could change how many good prospects you have to send back.
Right, and you know, maybe you do a contract for contract kind of thing, right? I mean, Ramirez is making what, 15, something like that.
Yeah.
Nice is making 5. So if you include him in the deal, then that
offsets it
a
little bit, and certainly Milwaukee could use some starting. Everyone could use some starting pitching, I guess, except the Mets.
Gamble flies out for the second out. Well, there are even contending teams that could use a veteran starting pitcher, and it's probably too early for them to be making that move, whether it's the Cardinals or the Dodgers, teams that have had pitchers go down and could probably use an extra arm. That would probably happen later in the summer, closer to the trading deadline, but the Mets right now are probably more focused on the immediate need of getting themselves a bat.
Well, all the teams are trying to wait out and see, and it's not going to happen, but see if the Mets are going to give up one of the prized pitching prospects.
Well, I can tell you for certain, DeGrom, Syndergaard, Matz, Harvey, they're not going anywhere.
No, they're staying in orange and blue.
Hellickson gets through 6, still 2-1 New York. Station. Oh, I see.
Oh, with Will Ferrell.
Spring training when Will Ferrell played for 10 different teams.
He played with everybody, right? I mean, he's hilarious, by the way. He's one of those people that you just look at him and you can laugh by just looking at him.
Third time around the batting order for John Neese, who's been terrific tonight. He's allowed just a run on 3 hits through the first 5 innings. Ender Inciarte is 0 for 2, and he throws him a couple of curveballs that miss, and it's 2-0. There's your People's United Bank starters tonight. Neese needing a good start, and he's delivered one so far, matching his season high in strikeouts, as has Hellickson. Fastball strike, 2-1.
Inciarte taking all the way there, down a run.
A.J. Pollock on deck, then Paul Goldschmidt for the Diamondbacks in the 6th.
Interesting. Well, the little competition will elevate your game sometimes.
You know, I was thinking about this when I was, writing some notes down before the game. John Neese was drafted and signed by the Mets in 2005, which means this is his 11th year in this organization. It's the only home he's ever known. And I would think, as is the case, anytime you've been in a home for a long time, you get very comfortable. And that can be a good thing, but it can also sometimes not be a good thing.
Well, I think it's a combination things. You can get very comfortable with being with one team, and also when you're identified.
Inciarte strikes out. That's 7 for Neese, a season high.
When you're identified as one of those young players that they're going to give a long-term contract to, that can sometimes work against you. Now, I'm not saying that did against Jonathan Neese, but his results are his results. He's been a .500 pitcher. I believe, to the time I've watched him, he should be better than that. That's my opinion. I just think early in his career, he used to have some light up games. I'm talking about one-hit games and games where he used his breaking ball a lot. It was a very important pitch. I think that when the worm changed for me is when he learned the cutter, which was a very good pitch, but he fell in love with the pitch, and the cutter replaced the curveball, and he became more of a middle of the plate in hitter to right-handed lineups, and that took that pitch away. That's when, to me, he went from a guy who was going to be a difference maker.
Pollock gets into one and drills it, one hop over the wall for a ground rule double, and the tying run is on second.
To a guy who became more predictable. Become more predictable, you're going to have less chance of having success.
Well, A.J. Pollock red hot in front of Goldschmidt. Another 2-hit game for him. And now Goldschmidt comes up with a tying run at second.
That was that little cutter there, and Pollock was ready for it. Some sharp angles here at this ballpark.
Neese had retired 8 in a row before that one-out double. He's handled Goldschmidt so far tonight, but Goldschmidt hit it very hard his last time up, right into Tejada's shift right behind second base. And Goldschmidt, who does not argue much, questioning Alan Porter's strike call. And again, Tejada right near that bag at second, where Goldschmidt rocketed one out of him the last time.
Interesting to watch Goldschmidt and BP. I wanted to see what the big deal was about because we talked about it a little bit last night. One, he's got that funny bat angle that he kind of rests it on his shoulder before he gets it ready and upright and ready to hit. But the thing that really I saw in batting practice, did not hit one ball over the fence. All he worked was hitting line drives. After he had 3 or 4 in a row, he quit. He put his bat away. He stayed there until he had to pick up the baseballs, but he did not take a full set of batting practice. You never see that.
Line to the center field. That's a base hit, and that'll tie up the game. Pollock turns third and comes in to score. Paul Goldschmidt with an RBI single, and it's 2-2. '46th run batted in for Goldschmidt, tying him for the league lead.
Well, just too good of a hitter. I mean, this is a pitcher's pitch. It's down. It's almost ankle high. I think what happened to Goldschmidt after that pitch was called that he didn't think was a strike, he just figured he had to swing at anything, and he covered that ball against Nice.
So twice the Mets have taken the lead in this game. Twice the Diamondbacks have come back to tie. 1 out and 1 on for Yasmani Tomas, who has singled and flied out 1 for 2. And he drills one down the left field line. That's a fair ball going to the corner. Goldschmidt digging for third. It bounces away from Kadire. Goldschmidt being waved home. Kadire's throw to the plate on the fly. Safe. And the Diamondbacks take the lead. Tomas with an RBI double. A great throw by Kadire once he got to that ball. But Goldschmidt able to beat it home with the go-ahead run.
And it's one of the few slides we've seen all year where the runner came in feet first, did not slide past the bag and try to touch it with his hand. First, good hitting by Tomas. All over that ball. See how it just stops in the corner and bounces back onto the grass. That's when Kadire knows that Goldschmidt's going, tries a shot at throwing him out at home plate, and Goldschmidt, who is running hard all the way, head down. He plays right in front of him. He picks up the coach, Andy Green, and then watch the slide. Feet first, get the foot in there first. That's how he was safe. You slide past that and try to touch it with your hand, he might have been out by Recker's sweep tag.
Well, that was quite a throw by Kadire, just a shade too late.
There's nothing he could have done there. I mean, there's so many different angles here. That ball could have came straight out at him. Instead, it came back down the line.
So the Diamondbacks lead for the first time tonight. Alex Torres is up in the Mets bullpen. And now Aaron Hill, the batter. Hill is grounded into a double play and struck out, and he takes a strike.
You know, when he had to come around and come back to this ball, all of his momentum's coming towards home. And Kadire took that chance and almost got him. It's as close as it gets. Great position by home plate umpire Alan Porter. He doesn't get any better than that.
Hill grounds one down to third. Campbell's got it. And that's the second out as Tomas holds at second. So now Chris Owings. Owings is 1 for 2, and Nice flat out robbed him of a hit the last time up. He laid down a bunt to the left of the mound, and John made a diving stop and threw him out from his knees. So Nice staggered a bit here in the 6th by 3 straight hits by 3 hot hitters, Pollock, Goldschmidt, and Tomas. And now trying to get through this inning with Owings, and the curveball bounced foul.
All 3 hits given up were middle of the plate in. Sometimes, John, when he gets in these circumstances, as the Mets bullpen gets hot, he disregards that outside part of the strike zone.
Eric Adell, Jack Leathersich now up in the Mets bullpen. And Owings fouls one away. Ronnie, you're going to be interested in this. The Detroit Tigers tonight lost their 8th straight game. They were beaten in the bottom of the 11th inning by the White Sox on an RBI hit by pitch.
They find every night a different way to lose these ball games.
They're down to 500, the Tigers. They're not used to that. Nice ahead on Owings 0-2. And he finds the outside corner for strike 3 called. 8 strikeouts for Nice, but the Diamondbacks poke their nose in front. They score 2 in the 6th and lead 3-2. talking over the last couple of weeks about how underrated he is. Underrated, but he's one of the best players in the game.
If you know the game, you know that he's one of the best players of the game. But we were thinking about some of the guys in baseball that no one really knows about. Mets fans know about Wilson Ramos because how he hits the ball club. But Edwin Encarnacion has as many home runs as anybody as a first baseman for Toronto. Kipnis had an unbelievable May, unbelievable year 2 seasons ago. Kyle Seager, no one knows about him. He drove in over 90 runs last year for the Mariners. Escobar, I got to watch him for the first time really in the Kansas City uniform in the postseason. Awesome. Michael Brantley, one of the best unknown players in baseball. Brett Gardner for the Yankees. I think he's underrated. You don't hear about him a lot. And Lorenzo Cain, great defensive player now coming into his own. Now my pitchers, relief pitcher, Tony Watson, no one knows about him. He's one of the best left-handed relievers other than Andrew Miller of the Yankees. And Mike Leake, even though he barely throws the ball over 90 miles an hour, seems to have a pretty good game every game.
And he can hit. Andrew Chafin, rookie left-hander, in the game for the Diamondbacks in the 7th.
Well, he's been their good luck charms. Appeared in 21 ball games for him, 4-0 record.
And last night's hero, John Mayberry, bats for John Neese, leading off in the 7th. So Neese has done 6 solid innings, but gave up a couple of runs in the 6th and finds himself behind in this game. Mayberry, first career 4-hit game last night, 2 doubles and a home run amongst the 4 hits. Well, John might lose this game. He might win it. He might get a no decision, but no matter what, he pitched a lot better tonight.
Yeah, it was his best pitched game in quite some time. Terry Collins talking to him on the bench. Probably a pep talk telling him the same thing we're saying. Would you think of moving Kadire to third base for a while and putting Mayberry in there every day?
You know, the mitigating thing about that is that Kadire got hurt last year playing third base. And, you know, you don't want to put him in any jeopardy. I don't know whether there'd be reluctance on his part to move there as a consequence.
And it's certainly not going to help your defense.
No. But if the goal is to get another bat in the lineup, if Mayberry can get some momentum going behind him, it's certainly a thought. I think if the Mets are unable to make a deal in a short period of time, maybe that's plan C or D. 3-2 to John, and the breaking ball fouled off.
Andrew Chafin, Kent State University left-hander. Played for Catuit in the Cape Cod Baseball League. I only say that because I played for that team.
There you go. And Mayberry hits one foul just outside the bag. Sunday on Jets Nation, a quarterback competition is one of the future. The crew weighs in. Plus, which player from last year's draft class is ready for a breakout season on an all-new Jets Nation Sunday at 8. Only on SNY. Eighth pitch of the at-bat coming to Mayberry. And he bounces one to short. Nice easy hop for Ahmed. And that's the first out of the 7th. So 1 out and nobody on up to the top of the batting order. And Curtis Granderson, who's 1 for 2 and a walk tonight.
So the plan here is to try to get a couple innings from Chafin and then get the ball to Ziegler. Is their new closer?
Granderson takes a strike.
Well, Delgado's been pitching too late in the game.
And if Chafin can get through Duda, then you've got all right-hand hitters coming up. Gets ahead on Granderson 0-2.
Kid's got pretty good stuff.
24 years old, first-round pick out of Kent State by the Diamondbacks back in 2011.
You throw pretty hard and got a decent breaking ball, you can play in this game a long time as a lefty.
Well, Hellickson was able to survive through 6, allowed 2 runs, 6 hits, 3 walks, 6 strikeouts. Mets left him loaded in the 4th, left a couple of men on in the 3rd. And just getting 6 innings these days is a huge bonus for Chip Hill. Granderson lines one to center, but right at Pollock. And he stays with it for the second out. We'll have some top spin on it.
How many hard hit balls have we seen to center field this series? Balls over Pollock's head, right at him. To say the same with the Diamondbacks too. They've had some good outs to the outfield also.
So 2 out and nobody on. Ruben Tejada at the plate. Ruben's 1 for 3 tonight. Single to right back in the third. 15 for his last 32. Batting average of .312 for the year. A little over a week after he was hitting .200. The bonus of the limited sample size. Duda would be next. And Tejada takes a strike.
There's been some arguing by both sides about this strike zone from Alan Porter, but I will say it has been consistent all night long. Likes calling that low strike and continues to do it.
Carlos Torres up now in the Mets bullpen. Looks like he'll get the bottom of the 7th. Terry Collins implied that he might stay away from Jerry's Familia tonight after his 33-pitch 5-out save last night.
We'll definitely stay away unless they can rally here for a couple of runs.
His chance to win is fading rapidly.
Needs a bloop and a blast here.
Tejada grounds one to Ahmed. And the quick toss to get him. 1-2-3 inning for Andrew Chafin in the top of the 7th. Stretch time in Arizona. 3-2 Diamondbacks. Separate leads in this game, but find themselves behind 3-2 as we go to the bottom of the 7th. Carlos Torres will pitch for the first time in this series.
see his numbers this year for Carlos Torres. I have to say of late, though, he's throwing the ball much better than he was earlier in the year. Opponent's averages, again, are up a little bit, but that should get better if he continues to stay down in the strike zone.
Tuesday night pitched a 1-2-3 inning against San Diego. He'll face Wellington Castillo to lead off in the home seventh. And Castillo fouls off the first offering from Torres. Castillo faced Nice twice, took a call third strike each time. Nice struck out a season high 8 batters tonight. Went 6 innings, allowed 3 runs and 6 hits. Walked only 1. And the curveball fouled off by Castillo, 0-2. It'll be Castillo, then Nick Ahmed, and the pitcher spot for the Diamondbacks in the 7th. Castillo, first game as a Diamondback, and strikes out for the 3rd time. So 1 out and nobody on.
Well, not the start the D-backs are looking for from their 2 Seattle guys. Leon last night struggled, and Castillo tonight.
So 1 out and nobody on. Now Nick Ahmed, who walked, stole a base, and scored a run in the 3rd. Grounded out in the 5th, 0 for 1. And Torres with that hard cutter gets ahead 0-1.
I wonder if I'll be laughing on game 162, because I've laughed every single time.
Well, we're getting that much closer to the Belmont Stakes tomorrow. What do you think? Yes or no? Those are really the only 2 answers.
Yeah. I'm going with yes. I feel it this time. I do.
Jared Saltalamacchia on deck to pinch hit. So you think American Pharoah is going to become the first Triple Crown winner since affirmed in 1978?
Well, there's 2 things that I want to happen. Number 1 is not Pharoah. Number 2 is American Pharoah is going to win. The number 1, I hope the trains are working a little better than they were last year. That's my number 1.
Well, the folks at the MTA have promised.
Promises. We'll see. Not like this race sneaks up on you. It happens every year.
Well, let me ask you, what do you think was worse, having not been in either one of those scrums? Belmont Stakes last year, Super Bowl.
Boy.
Which train failure was the greater of the 2?
That's an interesting call. Well, luckily the weather wasn't that cold on that Sunday for the Super Bowl.
Right.
Not like it was on Monday. But
it was the warmest day that whole winter.
The leaving the Meadowlands on an October game can be difficult.
You've done that.
Well, I took the train there, and because I don't know, like you guys know, because you go to all the games or as many as you can. I thought it was going to be a good idea to take the bus back to Port Authority.
Yeah, how'd that go?
Well, the line was about 4 miles long, or so it seemed. And I'm not known by everybody, but I'm known by enough people that felt like it was very embarrassing for me to be in a line for a bus. Like, don't you have a car, or don't you have someone driving you? And I said, I was with my son, and my son was, I think, 16, 17 at the time. I was trying to teach him this is how you go to a sporting event in New York. You take the train, you take the bus back.
It's how you go. It's just not how you get home. Long run for Flores, and he gets there and staggers and stays with it. Nice play by Wilmer, who was playing over near second base against Saltalamacchia. Well, I guess you learned your lesson there.
Next time I'm catching a ride with you.
I know exactly how to get out fast. Well, they even have trains here in Phoenix. Well, no switch pitchers on the mound tomorrow night, but Bartolo Colon will be pitching, and that's always entertaining. Chase Anderson goes for the Diamondbacks. We start a half hour later tomorrow night, 9 o'clock, our coverage on SNY. Defensive change for the Diamondbacks. David Peralta in to play left-ender. Inciarte moves over to right, and Daniel Hudson in to pitch for the second straight night.
Well, they hit for Chafin, which I found interesting with the lead, because you think you'd like Chafin to face Duda. Remember, it was Hudson last night after the error who gave up the 2-run home run to John Mayberry.
Hudson back from 2 Tommy John surgeries and throwing hard. And he misses outside to Duda, 2-0. Lucas tonight 0 for 2. Hit into a double play, grounded out and walked. Duda, Kadire, and Flores trying to bring the Mets back in the 8th. 3, 4, and 5 in the batting order. Duda 0 for 4 in his career against Hudson. And he takes a strike at the knees, 2-1. Hudson at one time a young, valued starter for the Diamondbacks, but missed really 3 years trying to come back from the 2 Tommy John surgeries.
Well, he started his first year, I believe he was 7-1, and then he won 16 games, so 23-13 in 2 years. And that is rain behind the pitcher. That seems pretty funny in a roofed stadium, but there must be a leak, and it must be raining outside.
Well, we saw a couple of things early in the game tonight. As Duda takes a changeup for a strike, we saw a little bit of mud around the pitching bumper, and we were wondering why that was. And then John Neese walking off the mound one inning looked up toward the roof, and we were wondering why. Well, I guess now we know. It's because it's leaking right on the pitcher and on the mound. And that's not a good thing. I mean, I remember in Milwaukee when they first opened Miller Park, they had problems with water coming in through the roof, but that was in the stands, not on the field.
I remember Tampa Bay, which is a dome stadium, but they have a lot of lightning storms there, and it is incredibly loud in the stadium.
Duda goes down in the high fastball, 97 from Hudson for the first out of the 8th.
It's just amazing. 2 Tommy John surgeries. I remember Hudson when he first came up. He was more of a sinker slider pitcher, got a lot of ground balls, but now rejuvenated arm.
Well, the Mets have not had a hit since the 4th inning. Eric Campbell's base hit that gave the Mets a 2-1 lead with 1 out in the 4th. The last time the Mets got a hit, Michael Kadire had a home run back in the 2nd, and he swings over that slider from Hudson, 0-1. With that home run, Kadire has a 10-game hitting streak going. You can see the fans looking up toward the roof, wondering, why is it raining? Wait a second. First of all, it's Arizona. Second of all, the roof is closed. Contrary to popular belief, it does rain here occasionally. And during the summer, they have what they call monsoon season, where it rains incredibly hard for a few weeks. That skips away from Castillo, 2-1. Well, it's time to roll out our Verizon trivia question for tonight, shortly before midnight. The Diamondbacks lead the league in runs per game. When's the last time the Mets led the league in runs per game?
Here's the rain.
It's over on the warning track near the screen. And Kadire tries to lay off, and he went around. 2-2.
Slider again. That's a good call by the first base umpire.
Mark Ripperger made the call. 2-2 from Hudson, and he comes inside, full count. They did have a game here earlier this season where they had the roof open and it started to rain and they couldn't close it fast enough. It's supposed to take 4 minutes to close the roof, but I guess it took a little longer that day.
Or as long as that song plays.
That's right. Heard that very operatic tune. There's a changeup for a call, third strike, and Daniel Hudson looking very sharp, has back-to-back strikeouts in the 8th. but the inning is not over.
Good changeup. I saw it's lots of sliders, lots of fastballs, and a perfect change.
And Kadire knew it.
Do they have, because it's the desert, do they have sandstorms here sometimes? I'm looking at Russ, our stat man. He says absolutely.
They have snakes too, by the way. That's why the team's called the Diamondbacks.
Watch the grip of Hudson. Beautiful circle change. Turns it over, pronating that arm. And his front foot kind of lands and then hops to the left.
Wilmer Flores 1 for 3 tonight, doubled and scored in the 4th. Ball and a strike. The sandstorms here are called haboobs.
Excuse me?
I don't know what language that comes from. Sounds like Arabic.
Yeah.
Cold air in front of the storm rushes down, picking up massive amounts of dust and sand and blowing them into the air. You learn something every night. Line the other way. Over in front of it in Ciarte. Side retired. 1-2-3 inning for Daniel Hudson. Mets have had 11 straight hitters retired. Ciarte almost lost it off his shoulder. Yeah, routine. Had it all the way. Was the last year the Mets led the league in runs per game. I'd have to go with 86.
90.
A little more recent.
Oh, was that the year that they had all the records set?
No, that was 96.
Okay.
Hundley with the home runs and Gilkey with the RBIs and Lance Johnson with the triples and the 227 hits.
Led the league in runs. I still couldn't pitch. That doesn't say too much about me.
1990. That was Strauss last year.
Yeah.
With the Mets. Had Howard Johnson in the lineup.
But that wasn't an odd year. Ojo was an odd year guy, wasn't he? 89, 91, 93.
Dave Magadan had a big year that year. 328.
Jeffries.
Right. In the air to right, a long one over for Granderson. Diving, and he can't make the catch. On his way to second, Ciarte takes the turn. Relay throw by Tejada is too high, and Ciarte's in with a triple. Good effort by Granderson. Couldn't make the catch. Tejada had time, but didn't make a good throw to third.
Well, Granderson gets there, but it's not. It's almost like he overran it in the sense that he caught it right in the heel or palm of his glove and not in the webbing. So he catches that right in the heel of the glove or the palm. And then Inciarte, who can fly. We talked about him doing all the little things. And he really wanted to get this triple once he saw that Granderson was scrambling for it. And Tejada's throw is way up and high.
Infield in for A.J. Pollock, and he lines one foul. Pollock's already 2 for 3 tonight, a single and a double. He's scored a run, he's driven in a run. So the Diamondbacks poised to get themselves some insurance heading to the ninth. They've got their closer of the moment, Brad Ziegler, up in the bullpen. For Inciarte, his second triple of the year.
It's almost like, to me, Tejada decided to put a little extra on it, and it just sailed on him. The reason why you want to really work on these throws to get them accurately is because the way the game has changed with replay, when you're going that fast into third, let your third baseman catch it on the bag. Even if it's going to be late, he can stay with the runner who might come off the base.
Pollock back with a new bat. Hits it hard and past Tejada, and that'll bring in a run. Inciarte scores. Pollock heads to second. Granderson's throw is too late, and the Diamondbacks lead 4-2. Well, with the infield in, Pollock just hit it too hot for Tejada to handle.
And he really got a taste of how fast this ball moves in the outfield. This is a ground ball. Okay, yes, it's hit too hot for Tejada to handle, and it gets by him. But this is right where the second baseman would be normally, and still got out to the outfield for Pollock to get to.
So the Diamondbacks have an insurance run, and now the Mets will intentionally walk Paul Goldschmidt. This will be his 14th intentional walk this year, the most in the league. And Yasmani Tomas out of the lineup. David Peralta took his spot in the batting order, so Peralta, the left-hand hitter, will be coming up.
The only reason I mention that, how quickly it is in this outfield, even in the infield, is that it reminds me so much of the days I used to play on that AstroTurf, that if anything was missed by the infielder, that it would get in the hole so quickly and so deep that by the time the outfielders got to it, guys who could run would take advantage of it. Look at Pollock. Got those long strides. I mean, this is not a small man. This is 6'2", 6'3", 195 pounds.
Mets will make a pitching change with the left-hand hitter coming up. Carlos Torres will exit. Jack Leathersich coming in. Call to the bullpen brought to you by Verizon. We'll be right back to Arizona.
Super 2.
Jack Leathersich will come in to pitch in relief.
He's going to pitch against David Peralta, who was brought in earlier in the game for defensive purposes. Moved to left field so Inciarte can move to right. Tomas out of the game.
Peralta 0 for 4 last night. First and second and nobody out for Peralta. Mets look for the bunt, but he's not bunting. And Leathersich starts him off with a curveball. 0-1. Pollock at second, Goldschmidt at first. A run home for the Diamondbacks as they've tacked on an insurance run here in the 8th.
And watch out for the bunt here, though. There was a lot of signs given by Andy Green. He might have. Chappelle wanted him to hit, see if he was going to get a fastball from Leathersich.
The runners go. The throw to third by Recker is not in time. It's a double steal. Pollock steals third. Goldschmidt follows him to second, and now 2 in scoring position with nobody out.
Well, this is just getting schooled here. Peralta turns around. He's not going to throw it. Curveball, no chance for Recker, and not a good job by Leathersich or the shortstop Flores to hold Pollock close. I mean, everyone's got to know that he's a stolen base threat.
Pollock's 14th of the year. Goldschmidt's 9th. Diamondbacks are second in the National League in stealing bases. So now the infield comes in, second and third and nobody out. A 1-1 count to Peralta. And a fastball for a strike, 1-2.
This is why you got to play 9 innings. Flores is off him, not even challenging him at second base. And Pollock with the huge jump.
Well, Leathersich, who was the king of the strikeout in the minor leagues, could use one right now. Ahead on Peralta 1-2 with Aaron Hill on deck.
Now, Gary, once you, as a shortstop, see the hitter square, you can run right behind Pollock because he'll see you in his peripheral vision and go, "Whoa, I can't go now." Because where are you going to go anyways? You're going to cover second base on a bunt anyway. Just the little tricks of the trade you can use as a shortstop to stop the running game.
2-2. And he misses with a curveball. Full count to Peralta.
I don't know if I've ever seen Leathersich throw his curveball this much.
We got right-hand hitters coming up after this, so this is probably Leathersich's only batter. And Recker needs a conversation with him. So, you know where I could have been tonight?
Where?
It's my 40th high school reunion.
40th?
Yeah. So, probably breaking up now, and folks might be watching. So, for all my high school classmates, hope you had a good time tonight.
Nice. Are you? Do you feel comfortable letting us know what school you went to, or you feel?
I went to the United Nations School.
Oh, cool.
40th anniversary. Off the corner, ball 4, and Peralta's on with a walk. So that's going to be the one batter for Leathersich. And now Eric Adell will come in with the bases loaded to face Aaron Hill. Game getting away from the Mets here in the 8th inning. Still nobody out with a run home. Bases full. Leathersich exits. Goodell enters. Call to the bullpen brought to you by Empire City Casino. York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by Citi, proud partner of the New York Mets. By Mazda, KellyBlueBook.com's lowest cost to own brand over 5 years. And by State Farm. Today's State Farm agent of the game is Gil Walton of the Bronx. Contact Gil at gilwalton.net. Eric Goodell comes into a tight spot.
Boy, no outs. Try to get out of this inning unscathed, give the Mets any kind of chance.
Aaron Hill 0 for 3 tonight, infield in. And the curveball blooped into shallow right. That's going to fall for a base hit. Pollock scores. Goldschmidt stops at third. Everybody moves up a base. RBI single for Aaron Hill makes it 5-2 Arizona. One pitch by Goodell, and Hill drives in the run.
Well, Goodell started last night's game with a breaking ball. Another one here. Not a bad pitch. Hit off the end of the bat by Hill, but drops it in front of Granderson.
So 2 runs are home in the inning. And now Chris Owings, who's 1 for 3 on the night. Infield stays in. 5 straight Diamondbacks have reached base to start this inning. And Owings pops one up in foul territory, and that'll sail out of play. It all started with Inciarte hitting one to right field. Granderson made a great effort to try and dive and catch it, but it squirted off the heel of his glove for a triple. A.J. Pollock hit one through the drawn-in infield for a double. An intentional walk to Goldschmidt. Leathersich walked Peralta to fill the bases. Hill with a base hit. And still nobody out. Goodell pitched the night before last in San Diego and was hit pretty hard. Gave up a couple of hits and a line drive out in an inning of work. Popped up. Center field. Lagares getting behind it. Goldschmidt tagging at third. And Lagares will throw it toward third base. Goldschmidt scores on the sacrifice fly by Owings. And it's 6-2 Arizona.
Well, I mean, we've mentioned it. It's already become an issue. I don't know how it can get even worse. But the runner at second tagging up on that would have never happened against Lagares, but obviously just cannot throw at this point.
Well, it's no secret anymore to teams that are scouting the Mets and preparing their reports. What used to be an incredible weapon for him is just not that anymore.
Yeah, it's just a gentle throw to second base, really.
So runners at the corners with 1 out, and now Wellington Castillo, who has struck out 3 times in his Diamondbacks debut. And takes the curveball from Goodell for a strike. All 3 runs in this inning charged to Carlos Torres, so he goes an inning plus, allows 3 runs, 2 hits. And the splitter by Goodell gets him ahead 0-2.
I don't think anyone could have a tougher start than Leon had last night, but Castillo's trying.
Has anybody had a golden sombrero in their debut for a new team? He's on the verge. Struck him out. So the dreaded golden sombrero fitted for Wellington Castillo in his first game as a Diamondback, and he just can't believe it.
Another split finger from Goodell. It's not going to be one of those 1900 things again, is it? Coaching staff all pats him on the shoulder. And what can you say? It's Ariel Prieto there on the left with the maroon jacket on. A teammate of mine in Oakland. One of the first Cuban-born players to be a pitcher in the United States.
Here's Nick Ahmed. 0 for 2 and a walk tonight. He takes low and inside. staying with that splitter. 2-0. And 3-0. Well, coming up after the post-game show, it's Geico Sports Night. Will they play the call to the post on Sports Night the way we do here?
I wonder. I wonder if they laugh as like we do.
And Paul LaDuca, big horse racing
that's right.
expert, will be on the show as well. Be nice to hear from Paul. 3-0 to Ahmed. And that's away, ball 4, and the bases are once again loaded. Cliff Pennington will come up as a pinch hitter.
Well, I don't think the inning can get any uglier than it's been.
Well, Goodell came in, gave up a base hit, a sacrifice fly, and after a strikeout, now becomes the third Met to walk a batter in this inning. Cliff Pennington would be the 9th man up in the inning. Pennington pinch hit last night and flied out.
They're really a team built around their great player Goldschmidt, and every time he comes up in the order, they have a chance to put up a crooked number, much like the Marlins. Marlins don't have as many good hitters around Giancarlo, though.
And the thing about Stanton, he's a great home run hitter, but he's not nearly as good a hitter as Goldschmidt.
He's not a .330 kind of hitter.
Peralta at third, Hill at second, and Ahmed at first, and now Dan Warthen out for a conversation.
I mean, if I came out and pitching coach, I'd have to say, hey, listen, this kid hasn't hit all night. He's pinch hitting. Let's just go after him. There's a reason he's pinch hitting here with the score 6-2. That's one of those moments. Remember, Billy Martin had his pitching coach come out, and it was Dave Righetti who was pitching, and Rags asked him, what are you coming out for? He said, I didn't want to come out, but Billy sure is angry at you. Better get somebody out.
That gets away, and here comes Peralta to score the 4th run of the inning. And so it does get worse.
It does get ugly.
Well, this bullpen has done so much good work this year, but boy, this 8th inning has just been dreadful.
Ball hits 3 feet in front of the plate.
That run is charged to Leathersich. 2 runners on base are now Goodell's responsibility. He's behind 2-0 on Pennington. Ender Inciarte, who began this inning, is now on deck. And that's 7 in a row out of the strike zone by Goodell. And there's no safety net. He's got to finish this inning. That's not going to run another pitcher out there. So he's got to figure it out. Coming into this 8th inning, the Mets bullpen had thrown 14 consecutive scoreless innings after Torres pitched a 1-2-3 7th. But Torres never gotten out in the 8th. And Leathersich and Goodell have struggled as well.
Well, I know they know how. They can just unplug the phone to make sure that no one can get up.
Fly ball left field. Kadire should have it. And the inning comes to an end, but 9 Diamondbacks came to bat, and they blow the game open with 4 runs and lead 7-2 going to the 9th. All right, guys, there's your Jeep line score. The Diamondbacks trail twice in this game, but 2 in the 6th, 4 in the 8th, and now the Mets down to their final 3 outs, trailing 7-2. Randall Delgado will try and get those final 3 outs. The former Atlanta Brave misses up and in to Juan Lagares.
Well, the Braves at one point were deciding whether Rafael Montero or Randall Delgado was the guy they were going to send over to Diamondbacks. They decided on Delgado. Well, Rafael has been pretty good over there, although struggling this year. Delgado has struggled, but in the bullpen seems to have found a nice role.
Lagares tonight 1 for 3, and you can see that in the Chrysler Mets box score. No Met has had more than 1 hit. Michael Kadire homered to give the Mets a lead in the 2nd. Eric Campbell snapped an 0 for 28 with an RBI hit that gave them the lead in the 4th, but they haven't had a hit since. The last 11 Mets have been retired. Check swing tapper foul, and it's 1-2 to Lagares with Campbell and Recker to follow. Tomorrow night Bartolo Colon goes for his 9th win. Did we mention we start a half hour later tomorrow?
I think you have mentioned it, but if I were you, I'd mention it again just for me alone to make sure I get here on time, because I might have to do the Open tomorrow.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, you were left out today because you had the ice cream sandwich.
I know. So I'm going to be good tomorrow.
I'd say 3 cookies should take care of you for tomorrow. Or maybe have the churro dog.
That's right. Churro dog might get me off the game.
Might put you in the hospital. Have we checked on Gelbs lately? Is he okay?
We have not seen him.
Heard from him since he ingested that thing.
No, Mets fan right to the end. Good for you.
She sees a 6-run rally coming, but not yet. Lagares strikes out for the first out of the 9th. That's 12 straight Mets who've been retired. Your T-Mobile game changer. Well, the Diamondbacks bullpen has been a big problem this year. 14 losses. It would take a big meltdown here in the 9th for that to happen. Mets relievers have only lost 4, and they won't get a loss tonight despite a poor effort in that 8th inning.
So the Marlins 12. Steve Cishek was sent down to AA. I don't know if we mentioned that. Their closer the last couple of seasons.
Here's Eric Campbell. Eric getting the start at third base with Daniel Murphy going the disabled list today.
Delgado's thrown hard out of the pen, huh? 96 miles an hour.
Anthony Recker waiting on deck. One other game still going in the National League. The Cardinals and Dodgers. St. Louis up 2-1, bottom of the 9th. That's nubbed down to first. It'll stay fair for Goldschmidt. And Campbell retired 2 out. Actually, there is another game going, but it's not going. They've been waiting about 2 hours in a rain delay in Colorado.
What new?
Marlins and the Rockies. It's unbelievable. They have had rainouts, snowouts, rain delays, hailstorms.
Just awful.
It's the worst spring ever in Denver, they say. And it always seems to happen when the Rockies are home.
And more to come, too. Supposed to have that kind of temperature is supposed to stay there. It's supposed to rain for the next few days.
Well, the Mets are down to their final out of the night. Anthony Recker 0 for 3 tonight. And Delgado gets strike 1. Jeremy Hellickson staggered a bit through his 6 innings, but gave up just 2 runs and 6 hits, and he stands to be the winner. And the bullpen for the Diamondbacks so far tonight has been perfect. 8 up and 8 down. Andrew Chafin worked a 1-2-3 7th. Daniel Hudson a 1-2-3 8th, and now Delgado 1 strike away from finishing it off.
The key to this game sounds silly. Jeremy Hellickson going 1 more inning, making the 6th inning. Set up their bullpen a lot better. Daniel Hudson looked outstanding in the 8th.
Danny Munoz come out on deck. He'll pinch hit if Recker keeps it going. And slider misses. 2-2. Murphy with the team, but eventually he'll be down in Port St. Lucie with the rest of the rehabbing folk.
Might as well just buy a mansion there so everyone has their own room.
Reality show. Struck him out and the ball game is over. Delgado with a 1-2-3 ninth. The Mets failed to pick up a hit the last 5 innings. The Diamondbacks break it open late and even up the series as Arizona beats the Mets 7-2.
Well, it's really a shame. Jonathan Neese has his best game that he's had in quite some time. The bullpen faltered to give the Diamondbacks a huge lead going into the ninth. Michael Kadire, one of the lone bright spots for the offense with a home run. Delgado finishes up for Jeremy Hellickson, who gets the win.
Neese gets his 4th straight loss, but pitched much better tonight. But 3 runs in 6 innings was enough to beat him, as the Mets did not have a hit after the 4th inning. And Jeremy Hellickson picks up his 4th win of the year. As you look at the Jeep game summary, A.J. Pollock had a big night, 3 for 4, a couple of doubles, 2 RBIs, as the Diamondbacks even up the series at a game apiece. 7-2 the final. Arizona wins it. We'll come back with more from Chase Field in just a moment.